Hey everybody, coming to you again with another how-to video today on how to find chanterelle mushrooms. So I'm up here in the great PNW, and I like to wait until about the first major rain. So a lot of times that's October. Although last year we were still picking all the way into December, even we had snow on the ground. So, you know, as the weather has changed, you know, so too has the growing season. So after we get the first rain, we're going to come out and we're going to look for elevations of, you know, about 1,500 plus. I have searched and searched for these at lower elevations and have never been able to find any. You know, the second thing is we're going to find places that don't have a lot of underbrush. So we're looking for spots that are kind of clear. We're looking for pine needles. These things love pine needles. They love hiding under pine needles, and they'll be growing, and the first time we see them is when they break through the surface of the forest floor with all the pine needles. So those are the kind of places that we're looking for. Now, of course, they'll show up in other locations. But for me, I've had a lot of success with finding the forest floor where it's sparse, pine needles, and shade. And again, rain, rain, rain. So the next thing is okay, we think we found a chanterelle. How do we know it's safe to eat? How do we know it is actually a chanterelle and not a false chanterelle? Okay, well, I'll show you. So first thing is we're going to have this bright, you know, golden color. Should be fairly easy to spot on the forest floor. Okay, but color is not the only indicator of it being a chanterelle. There's a couple other factors that we need to take into consideration. First of all, gills. And so I'm going to just cut in the middle here. I don't take the stem. I want these things to grow back. And then I take a look at the gills. Okay, so here's what's important about chanterelles and gills is that they have what's called false gills. And what that means is these aren't articulated out, you know, perfectly straight. And they'll be kind of muddied, right? And connected and kind of mushed together, right? And so that's kind of your first important indicator. The second important indicator underneath is that the meat of the mushroom is going to maintain its color of white all the way down to the stem. Okay, so gills, color of the stem, meat, and then overall color, all right? The other thing I wanted to point out is that if you do some Google searching, what you're going to find is that, you know, folks will say, well, these don't really grow in clusters. And I have not found that to be the case. I found it to be the opposite. When I find one, usually I find more. So it might not be completely obvious when you find one. So you need to start overturning pine needles and looking underneath ferns and so on and so forth. I thought it might be useful to show y'all what is not a chanterelle. So see, take a look at the gills here, how they're very pronounced. They extend down to the stem, but they don't follow the stem. And also you have these, you know, kind of elongated bumps along the stem here. This is obviously not a chanterelle. And then the color, of course. You know, the color is not near what a chanterelle would be. It's got that orange, it'll catch your eye. But this is clearly not a chanterelle. I think this is probably a really good example of what is a chanterelle and what isn't. But you see these guys here? Dark center in the middle. You know, grooves up like a bowl shape. Obviously not a chanterelle. This is a chanterelle, but the reason that I want to point this out in particular is because this is a juvenile and it hasn't got those frills on it yet. But this is a chanterelle here. And, you know, the main thing, we'll go ahead and cut it for demonstration purposes, is again, white meat, mashed gills, not true gills, you know, and color. There we have it. By the way, one of the things I forgot to mention, chanterelles will have a smooth top. Fake ones sometimes have a furry, textured top. And so that's another indicator when you found a false chanterelle. It's furry or textured, whereas regular chanterelle will be smooth. Yeah, look here, we got some more hiding in the ferns here. They're not gonna make it easy on you. You gotta work for it. And got another one over here. A couple of them actually. Oh, those are beautiful. Really good specimens, good size. These also are not a chanterelle. Kind of looks like it, but if you notice, you see the orientation of the gills and how they kind of start on the outside, and then color, of course, stem, and the gills in their entirety. This might be a good time to point out that I'm out here alone, and normally I wouldn't be doing that, and here's why. You take a look at the terrain that I'm in. There's potholes and forest floor debris that you can't necessarily see here. And so if you roll your ankle out here, which by the way, I don't have any cell service, I really am removed from civilization out here, you know, which I love. But the point I'm making is how I like to approach this safely is bring somebody else with you. Here's another good example of not a chanterelle. These guys have the shape, but you notice they retain that really dark orange color all the way down to the stem. Not a chanterelle. Overall, good day. Really looking forward to getting into these. Y'all have a great day. Take care.